This motor is a motor that failed in Catzilla 2 years ago. I'm going to straighten this crank just enough to bolt them two halves back together. As you can see, this motor is shit shot. The failed rod destroyed the case as well as the crank. So why bother? Because I am going to do some testing that may damage a good engine. But if I can show some improvements and make a template that can be used on a good running engine, a good running Arctic Cat, then I have won. If I failed, it was a good learning experience. Wow, did you see that? The bearing came off its journal not once, but twice per one revolution of the crankshaft. Here, let me slow it down for you. Number one rod journal is at the top and the bearing is off of its main surface. Now the rod journal at its lowest point and the bearing is off the surface again. That's that's one effed up crank. No dial indicator required at this point. This right here is what killed the whole plan. See that journal? That's not just wear. That crank got so hot, the hardness is gone. Once that happens, it's done. It doesn't matter how much you tweak it on it, you're never getting it straight again. And once I realized that, there was no point fighting it. The goal was airflow data, not rebuilding a junk crank. So I changed the experiment. All right, now we can cut something. My old saw blade caught the back of the case and turned the saw blade into a Z. And the teeth were pretty much wore out of it anyway, so I had to go get a fresh blade. And man, it cut through the room a whole lot smoother. My original plan was just to drill a whole bunch of holes all the way around it and then put it on the floor and smack it with a hammer and break it in half. After 2 hours of drilling holes and not being able to make it break free, that's when I got the Sawzall out and made it all happen. Yay! Why did I just cut up and ruin this perfect Arctic Cat snowmobile engine? Well, this could be one reason. Or maybe this could be one reason. Oh yeah, I even, after I cut all this out, even this journal was twisted so bad that the crank wouldn't turn. And I made up this cute little bolt thingy here and stuck it between there and spread the two halves, which is what the problem was. It was bent end. And I just kept tightening that bolt and kept straightening it until it was true enough that I could tighten it down and it would actually turn. Just some trivial thoughts. I wanted to do some flow testing with this engine because obviously it's shit shot. But I wasn't planning on cutting the hell out of it because I wanted to put it together and set it on my flow bench and do some work in this area of the engine. but the crank was so badly bent and twisted and cut up that I could not get the cover on without the motor being seized. It was so twisted and bent out of shape that I just finally gave up and cut this all off. I mean, obviously even this isn't any good. You can see where it busted through right there. This thing's totally junk. So it's the perfect one to experiment with. I can't hurt it, I can't damage it, but I just might learn something. I might get something figured out on this. So that's what we're gonna do. I've got my reed to go in there. I've got my piston to go on here. The jug, of course, to go on top of it, and that'll go on top of my flow bench. It is now to where I can make it turn. So it's a little stiff, but it'll work for what I'm trying to do. So this is why it looks like hell. That's just the way it's going to be, and we're going to start testing after I take this back apart, seal it all up, put the piston on, put the jug on, and put it on my flow bench. And that's where we will meet. It'll only be a second, but it might take a while before I get there. See you in a minute. Pardon the sound of my heater, but it's cold in here. So this engine is as far as it's gonna go or needs to go. But I still gotta shorten this crank so that it will balance on top of my flow bench. And once I get the crank chopped off here and get a nut welded on the end of it here, we'll be ready. Once that's done, this is a dedicated single cylinder test piece for my flow bench. Stay. Next step, this goes on my flow bench, and that's where the air stops lying.